One morning, in a flat in one of the great buildings of Gorokovya Street, there was, lying in bed, a gentleman of considerable leisure. He was a fellow of a little over 30, of medium height and pleasant exterior. In his eyes one could discern a complete absence of any definite idea, and in his features a complete lack of concentration. Occasionally a thought would wander across his face, flutter for a moment in his eyes, and then disappear, and once more his face would glow with a radiant insouciance. Who is this, our hero? He is the man who says, I can't. He is non-aligned, non-compliant, unwilling. He is an anti-performer, a man who stubbornly resists the demands to choose, to perform, and to produce. Neither consumed nor consuming, he will never exhaust his potentials or ever run out of ideas, for he has incapacitated himself to the point where nothing more can be expected of him. His name is Ilya Ilyich Oblomov. With Oblomov, lying in bed was neither a necessity nor an accident. It was his natural condition of being. This is how we first find him, in a state of recumbence, wrapped in a well-worn dressing gown of some Persian origin. Somehow he looked perturbed, and anxiety, regret, and vexation chased themselves across his features. Where shall I obtain the life of paradise? He thought. Would that I now were sat under a tree on a fair summer's evening in an elect little corner of the world where silence reigns everywhere. Only here could the joys of perennial lassitude be experienced to their full. Once again our hero sank asleep, and as he slept he dreamed. Let us follow him hither. We find ourselves transported to a place where there exists nothing wild or immense, neither sea, nor mountain, nor lonely forests. There, the yearly round fulfills itself in a regular, uninterrupted order, and time is marked but loosely by the comings and goings of festivals and seasonal ritual. Here, the good folks have no belief in disturbing the mind, and they have never heard of a life wherein people walk about with anxious hearts, devoting their existence to unending toil and ceaseless aspiration. Rather, they fear the distractions of passion as they do fire. Where other men's souls burn with the volcanic violence of spiritual flame, so the souls of these people lay in an undisturbed, perpetual inertia. Men of 40 would look like youths, and old men, instead of battling with the approach of a hard and painful end, lived life to the utmost limit and died, as it were, unawares, as stops a watch which its owner has forgotten to wind up. Here there is no history, no progress, only an empty duration without end or direction. The inhabitants rarely took a book into their hands, and what book it might be they cared little, for they felt no craving to read. Literature was looked upon as a mere luxury, which could easily be indulged in or done without, just as one might have a picture on one's wall, or one might not. Hence, they were indifferent to the identity of a book, as such articles were looked upon as mere instruments of distraction from ennui and lack of employment. In his dream, our hero passed not only an evening, but whole weeks, months and years in this undifferentiated manner, wrapped in a haze of inertia, prone upon a sofa. This perpetual torpor would in any other situation be considered a disease, an apathetic malady of the highest order. Never would anything occur to interrupt the uniformity of this life, nor were the people wearied by it, since they could conceive no other existence, and would have turned from any other with distaste. What wanted they with diversity, change, or incident? Even pleasing incident brought disturbance, fuss, and worry, so that one could not sit quietly in one's seat. Entering quietly, his manservant tried to rouse the sleeper. Suddenly, a loud knock proceeded from the neighbourhood of the door, and our hero started up. He rose to a sitting posture on the bed, lowered his legs to the level of his slippers, and slipped the latter onto his feet. At length, he attained a wholly erect posture and sat meditating for a few moments. A little man with a bald head entered. "Hello, Doctor," Oblomov exclaimed. "What chance brings you here?"
"The chance that, since you declined to be ill and never send for me, I am forced to come of myself,"
replied the doctor.
"How are you?"
Our hero shook his head despondently. poorly, doctor. My stomach will barely digest anything. There is a pain in the pit of it, and my breath comes, but with difficulty.
Give me your wrist,
said the doctor, reaching to feel the patient's pulse.
Does your heart throb or your head ache?
He added other questions, bowed his head, and subsided into a profound meditation. At length, he straightened himself out and announced with an air of clear decision his diagnosis.
2 of 3 more years of this room and you will have a stroke. Your animal machine is exhausted from your habitual brooding. You are fatigued. There is an epidemic of it currently. While your energies can neither be created nor destroyed, they can be dissipated, and here I see it in your pale visage, the painful way your muscles support your body, your weighted posture. In all appearances, you are like a plant withering for want of air or sunlight, all your functions in decline. There is no vaccine against this kind of fatigue, no matter how urgently it might be needed to rid the world of this affliction.
The doctor thought carefully for another moment. He pondered on the white-crowned sparrow, a bird which needs so little rest that it can fly uninterrupted for as long as 7 days while it is migrating. The long week of sleeplessness does not impair their productive functions, and they fly by night and forage by day without rest. If only there was some way to remake the human machine along this model, he thought, to eliminate sleep altogether. Sleep, madness, and fever all stood together as stubborn obstacles to the progress of knowledge and rationality. How productive we might be if we lived in the permanent daylight of reason.
Here's my prescription,
the doctor announced.
You must change your mode of life in order to best conserve your energy. You must have fresh air, you must go abroad, you must put yourself far away from all your cares and worries, and you must do no thinking whatsoever. Impose upon the brain no exertion. Likewise, you must avoid emotion of every kind, for that sort of thing is sure to militate against a successful cure. Try to divert yourself with moderate exercise, with dancing, with pleasant conversation with the opposite sex, these things that are designed to make your heart beat more lightly and to experience none but agreeable emotions. You must lay aside all reading and writing. Rent a villa which faces south and lies embowered in flowers, and surround yourself with music and women.
With that, he rose to take his leave. Our hero threw himself back upon the bed, with an aching suspicion that buried in his being was some element, though hidden in his personality, that might once have been minted into sterling coin. His face darkened with weariness and ennui. Yet his crisis of emotion failed to crystallise upon a definite idea, much less a resolve to action. He pondered briefly upon the dissipation of energy in the universe as it approached an ultimate state of total equilibrium. The heat death of the universe, when there will no longer be free energy to be exploited to perform work or sustain life. The universe would run down to a state of total rest, a perpetual now, like a clock stopped forever.